Hello, folks. Pops here, ILWPOD, and we're back here for a review show.
Yes, sir.
We're going to do a review on Superbrawl 4, WCW Superbrawl pay-per-view from 1994. And this is my
new co-host for the reviews, Dustin Woolwine. This show originated from Albany, Georgia, kind of hosted, we'll say, by Tony Schiavone and Bobby the Brain Heenan, making his first pay-per-view appearance for WCW. We also see the original Hell in the Cell, maybe,
the OG
kinda?
version. I
3
would say
years
so.
before the WWE version.
And it happened before this even. They've had it before. It's called the Thundercage.
Mm-hmm.
But it is kind of the original Hell in the Cell, I would say.
It's like if the Hell in the Cell met the Big Blue Cage.
Yes.
Yeah, you see what I mean? Like, it's not a fence. It's kind of like they got that Big Blue Cage feel from WWF, but in the larger Hell in the Cell capacity with no roof.
Yeah, I can definitely
It's interesting. It's an interesting concept.
This isn't just one Hell in a Cell or one OG Hell in a Cell.
We get two.
Two
Back-to-back
Thundercage main events, which I thought was kind of crazy. And the reason that happened is there was some questions whether Flair would be able to compete in his main event match for this evening. It was thought he wouldn't, so they didn't want. Correct? Yes, a back injury. So they were just using it to build the storyline. Either way,
I think when you look at the rest of the card, it makes sense why they put two of these cage matches, which I'm sure we'll dive into.
Yeah, yes, but at first I don't think it was a plan to have two cage matches.
No,
I think once Flair was
cleared,
not cleared yet. Once he was in question.
Yes,
I do believe they put the other cage match in there.
It was an audible.
Yes, an audible, and then when Flair was cleared, and they just worked an angle out of it all.
I see what you mean.
I think that's what happened, or it was a contract dispute or something like that backstage. Flair was, because at this point,
there was some controversy surrounding why we got two.
There might have been. There might have been.
Okay.
The show starts off though, and it starts out with a video package, and it's showing the match card for the evening, hyping the match card, and then we get a training montage of Ric Flair, and it's kind of like that OG Rocky Balboa.
We just missing Eye of the Tiger.
Yes, the Eye of the Tiger theme music. And as you said, we get Tony Schiavone and Bobby the Brain Heenan on the mic. Bobby the Brain's first ever WCW pay-per-view. He had been on WCW programming for some time, but this was his first pay-per-view. And he's talking about the boss being the special enforcer
for the main event.
And he's talking about the boss's name and what it stands for. And he says, Big Old Southern Sal. I just thought that was really cool, Bobby Heenan, just to start the show off and put you in that Hulk Hogan golden era wrestling mood right off the rip. And then we get the first match. Johnny B. Bad comes to the ring, and then his opponent's going to be Michael P.S. Hayes. But instead, we get Jimmy Garvin pushing Michael Hayes out in a wheelchair. And instantly, we get Nick Bockwinkel and Gene Okerlund out on the ramp. And Michael P.S. Hayes, the Freebird, is telling them why he can't compete because he's injured and all this stuff. And they inform Jimmy Garvin, who I did not recognize. I did not recognize Jimmy Garvin at all.
He looks completely different.
No hair.
Yeah.
So they inform Jimmy Garvin that he's still a wrestler. And he still has a contract, and he's still getting paid, even though he's been piloting airplanes. And that he's going to have to step in the ring in 45 minutes with Johnny B. Bad instead of Michael Hayes. I liked what they were doing here. They was working a gimmick.
It was a very interesting way to start a pay-per-view.
Well, yeah, and they were working an angle to where P.S. Hayes turned on Bad.
Yes.
Bad wants his revenge. He earns his revenge.
Yep.
And then it's taken from him yet again because Hayes is injured. Injured.
Slipped on a banana peel. Maybe fell down the stairs. We don't know.
Whatever it was.
I like how they utilize the Freebird rule.
Yes.
That's what they say. Jimmy Jam Garvin is obligated to wrestle in this match because of the Freebird rules that's put
Right.
in their contract. And that's whenever they say, look,
And I think the last
minutes
time
to
they
get
were the Freebirds was a couple years prior.
Yeah, so it's cool that
with DDP as their manager.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
It's cool they bring that back.
Yeah. Next we get tag team action. We get this is an interesting right here. We get the Harlem Heat, but it's not Booker T and Stevie Ray.
No.
We get Kane and Cole. Kane would be Stevie Ray, later known as Stevie Ray, and Booker T is actually Cole, later known as. I just thought it was interesting, and it threw me off. And then they're versing a young up-and-coming team.
Batman and Robin.
Well, Bobby the Brain Heenan, G. Williker's brain, he calls them Batman and Robin because they come out and they're wearing capes. Their name's Thunder and Lightning. My only thing in the notes was, what the fuck?
It was the most bare bones basic tag team match I might have ever seen. It looked like, and I mean this with no disrespect, one of those pre-show tag matches we see at some of the indie events we go to.
I think this was a match with two young teams, a young Harlem Heat team and this team.
Yes.
And WCW was probably had them on some Saturday night tapings or some other things. And they wanted to see how they fared in front of a big crowd, in front of a big audience before they maybe gave contracts. And this match might have been one of the ones that got Harlem Heat over.
It might have. It definitely didn't get Thunder and Lightning over.
I know Harlem Heat kind of smashed them.
They destroyed them.
And there was a lot of great mic work by Bobby Heenan this whole match. He made it work with the Batman and Robin stuff the whole time. Halfway through the match, we get a split screen montage of Ric Flair's dressing room again. And we get Double A and Steamboat are with Rick, and he's working out, and he's getting ready for the match. That was kind of interesting. And then right after this, Harlem Heat picks up the victory.
They just kind of win, too. There's not a finish. They just kind of go
Just kind of
beat them.
Yeah, just kind of
random. I didn't expect it. The next match had to have been my favorite match of the whole show. We get Denzel Washington's The Equalizer versus Jack Perry's real dad.
That was Evad, Dave Sullivan.
No, Jungle Jim Steele, Jack Perry's real dad.
Oh,
okay.
Jungle Jim Steele. Okay, in my notes again, I have what the fuck. This was a pay-per-view. I didn't understand it. Tony Schiavone even says that like Jim Steele has had what?
At most 3 to 4 minute matches.
Yeah, so he's never.
This is a big test for him.
Yeah, and he's never had nobody really fight back.
No.
And it's crazy to see Dave Sullivan here as the Equalizer. He wasn't even called Dave Sullivan. It was just the Equalizer. Because he did go on to have a little bit of success in WCW as the younger or older brother. I can't remember if Kevin Sullivan, whichever it was.
He looked to me like if Bruiser Brody and Hogan had a baby.
Yes. I think that's what he was going for. Jim Steele wins with the steel trap.
It was a Thez press. I've never seen somebody win with the Thez press.
It wasn't Thez press, and it wasn't like the Thez press Austin does with the fist pounding on the head.
No, he kind of like Thez press and just laps on him and then holds his arms down.
And kind of humps his face with his crotchal area.
Yeah, that's about it for that.
Yeah.
Up next, we get Mean Gene talking with Ricky Steamboat in the back. I thought this was very interesting because they put over the fact that Steamboat hasn't really been in the main action in a minute. And that Steamboat has been given a title shot from whoever wins the main event, whether that's Flair or whether that's Vader, which I just thought was really interesting. Steamboat just immediately right back in the action and gets right in the world title picture where he has history with Flair. And maybe Vader or not Vader?
I don't think Vader at this point, but they did go on right after this. I think to have some interactions, or it was right before this. They had some interactions.
Okay.
I know. At one of the video packages, they showed where earlier Vader was beating on Ricky to get Rick back in the ring for this match because of his back.
So he was a tool to get Flair in.
So they had a match or two while Rick was out with the back injury to determine whether Steamboat even gets a title shot. And Steamboat ended up prevailing. Vader jumped him after the match.
I see.
They beat him. Yeah, something like along those lines, I'm pretty sure.
Before we go on to the next match, I want to talk about Flair's injury, which I thought was really interesting. For one, obviously, they're playing off the airplane incident that happened years
Flair
prior.
always did.
Always had a bad back. But what injured him was a superplex off the top rope by
From
Vader,
Vader.
which was really, because nowadays we see a superplex and we just think it's just another move in a match. But for them to put over such a simple maneuver,
Well, it was because of Vader's size
yes,
and his brutality and how big he was and agile and Flair's bad back, and then the combination of the Vader bombs and the moonsaults and the power bombs.
yes,
Just all of Vader's arsenal focused on the back pretty much.
it tore Flair down.
Right, and it wore and tore Flair down, and Vader was this unstoppable monster
Got you.
that Flair wasn't supposed to be able to.
He wasn't ready, which is very interesting, which we'll talk about later when we dive into the match. But up next we get DDP, which, by the way, guys, if you haven't watched, also this week came out our interview with Diamond Dallas Page. So it's very cool reviewing a show with DDP on it, a very young DDP.
Very young.
With his Diamond Doll, who, Bobby Heenan is very interested in, versus the Chicken Man.
Cock-a-doodle-doo!
Terry Taylor, which was not a bad match at all. Some of the, I noticed at this point in the show, the arm, this is where we see the arm starting to get utilized, and we'll see this be a theme throughout the whole show. Somebody working the arm happens in pretty much every match, I think, except for maybe the main event, which I thought was really interesting.
That was probably an inside Dusty joke or something.
You think so?
Maybe, might have been. Or an Arn Anderson, Ole Anderson.
DDP, though, I thought was really crafty at this point in his career, just showing off he does the gut wrench
yes.
slam and a couple other very innovative moves for what we've seen in the rest of this paper.
Well, not just that. Terry Taylor, I know he gets a lot of grief for being a Meltzer, whatever, stooge, and he catches a lot of grief. But I'm going to tell you, he's a great worker, and he's done a lot for a lot of guys' careers. You could hear Triple H talk about Terry Taylor and what he did for him, or Austin. Just a lot of guys.
There's a lot of guys.
And he was doing the exact same thing for Dallas here.
Agreed.
And Dallas knows it, I'm sure, and Dallas would probably put him over for it. I'm pretty sure. He just made Dallas look like $1 million for Dallas being such a young, green worker at the time. But Dallas is a quick learner and picked it up very, very quick. Terry did win the match, though.
I like one thing that I thought was interesting. This is pre-Diamond Cutter.
Yes.
And DDP hits Taylor with a punch that on commentary was quoted as would have knocked out Tyson.
Yes.
And that was kind of the finish that they was trying to portray.
Yeah.
And he didn't finish off Terry Taylor with that. He ended up going for a move in the corner, hit his chest on it, and Terry rolled him up. Which I thought, the little thing I noticed is Terry at first goes for the tights and then lets go because he's the babyface.
He's the babyface.
And you could tell maybe those heel tendencies that maybe he's used to.
Well, and Terry Taylor, he always was winning matches with roll-ups or some slick maneuver like rolling over a sleeper
or something
creative. Innovative and creative. Yep. Yes. And when he was a villain or a heel, his cheating tactics were above all else. They were going to either him or DiBiase were the two big names down in Mid-South that they thought were going to come out of there and really become like an NWA world champion. Or two up, yes.
Flair, possibly.
And so I think Terry Taylor was on his way to that.
Okay.
And left and went to the WWF, got the Red Rooster gimmick, and it was kind of all downhill after
that. A lot of cock-a-doodle-doo after that.
Yes.
After this, before we get to our next match, we get Mean Gene talking to, I believe, the German announce team commentator, which I thought was really interesting because you don't see that a lot. So, nothing, too special there, but it was just different. You don't see a lot of that, which I thought was cool.
At this point in time with WCW, they were trying to position themselves as the #1 wrestling organization. even though they wasn't yet. They were in talks with Hulk Hogan. They had brought in Bobby Heenan, Mean Gene Okerlund.
They got back Flair.
The Nasty Boys. Just so many. The Boss. Just so many competitors and everything they were bringing in. Rick Rude was there. Just a lot was going on. And I think Eric Bischoff was executive producer at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Had taken over the main seat. So they were trying to find ways to compete with Vince.
I think something else I noticed is really trying to utilize younger talent. Whereas the WWF, maybe they was holding on to the past, the golden days.
Well,
and like you'd see in WCW, for instance, Rude, big example. In the WWF, only makes it to Intercontinental Champion. He goes to WCW, and he is their main guy.
What they were doing was they was using the talented wrestlers that had wrestled for the WWF that didn't make it and bring them down and letting them do more.
Yes.
And then they were just recycling the golden era of WWF a lot too,
Which I think might have hurt him.
It did eventually, but at first it was
It was working here.
It was the spark that they needed to get all the eyes on.
They just need to figure out how to evolve.
Right.
I feel like that's a little late to the party.
Yes. Well, if you notice, Flair and Hogan, when Hogan finally arrives, it was one of the top selling pay-per-views. You know what I mean? It was something everybody wanted to see. WWF failed to deliver back at WrestleMania 7, or 8, whichever one it was. They failed to deliver, so this was a big deal to everybody. It was the dream match. It didn't happen in WWF. Now it's going to happen here in WCW.
Hogan wasn't signed yet as of this pay-per-view, was he?
I'm not for sure if he wasn't.
Because they talk about him a lot, but they don't talk about him in a competitor aspect.
I don't think he was. I think he was signed in May.
Okay, so this was like teasing.
He was doing Thunder in Paradise at this point.
And I'm pretty
sure it was a cross production because they was on the same station. He was they were supposed to put it over. And I'm pretty sure that he was already in talks, if not already confirmed, for Bischoff and everybody else.
I got you.
You know, it just wasn't known to the wrestling fans because at this time in
there was no
1994, you wasn't getting on
you wasn't on Twitter seeing all the news.
Right.
Okay, there was no... Meltzer was there, but it was a lot harder to report. He couldn't just get on his podcast and talk about it.
Yes.
You had to wait on the Observer. Yeah. Up next, we finally get the match between Johnny B. Bad and Jimmy Garvin, and I think this is where the pace of the show picked up. Like, at first we was going like 15 miles an hour in a school zone, and then we finally got on the interstate.
Yeah.
And I was happy to see it. Johnny B. Bad is somebody I've always been a big fan of, whether it's Johnny B. Bad or Marvelous Mark Marrow. I always thought he could have been somebody that was a lot higher in the card if given the right opportunity. I like the gimmick. I like the flashiness of the character. I think the styles between Johnny B. Bad and Garvin mixed really well because Garvin's older and he's able to try to neutralize the speed and agility of Johnny B. Bad. And Johnny B. Bad is so over at this period, it's kind of insane.
Garvin, when I was growing up, was one of my favorite wrestlers, him and Precious. I loved them. Mm-hmm. I thought the combination was great. I loved back in the day when they had the 3-story cage match and he battled against Sullivan and all that stuff. I really loved it. It threw me off seeing him here with short hair. Finding out he hadn't been in the ring for 2 years. Was that
a tattoo, a baby doll on his shoulder?
Yes,
that's what I thought.
or Precious.
It was one of the others.
Precious,
okay.
Yes. So I'm pretty for sure Garvin hadn't wrestled in 2 years, but you couldn't tell from his work in the ring. He is a true craftsman and professional at his trade. Bad does win with a sunset flip.
I like the sequence, the uppercut, because they play into that boxing background of Johnny B. Bad, and then the sunset flip was cool because it's off the top rope.
It's off the top rope,
and it's like off the top rope over the back, floats over, gets the pinfall, and then we get the angle after the match, which I like the continuous because the main point of this whole thing is Johnny B. Bad wants his hands on Michael P.S. Hayes.
Because they were tag team partners
and they were doing good.
And they were doing good.
And then, Hayes is on the ramp or the platform. Not really a ramp. It's platform that goes to the ring. And he's going towards P.S. Hayes. P.S. Hayes is backing the wheelchair up, and Garvin gets him from behind. and that's whenever the tide shifts. Gets him back in the ring, attacks him with PSA's boot, which I always liked the cowboy boot, using it as a weapon. I always thought it was cool. And then he hits a nasty variation of the stunner.
It's called the 911.
911. And all you hear the whole time is PS, that's the 911. Which I think's hilarious. Also in this match, something I thought was really cool is for a large portion of the match, Heenan's on one side of the ring doing commentary, and PSA is on the ramp, and they're talking back and forth
to
each other, like in the middle of this match.
What the hell, Bobby?
Which I think is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Just good work. Like, this was a much different matchup than everything else we've seen the entire show so far.
Yes. Next, we get Mean Gene backstage, and he's trying to get into Vader's dressing room. And this is great, too, because it's Harley and Vader back there. And supposedly they've been saying on commentary all night that Vader's back there destroying stuff. He's pissed off. And so Gene's going to try to go in there, and Vader just is not having it.
Shuts it down.
So I really thought that was cool. And then we get the television title match. This is where probably my favorite match of the night. One of my favorite matches of the night. I just thought this right here was what brought me in. We find out the match will only be 30 minutes, or it will be 30 minutes instead of 15. Normally on TV, they're only 15 minutes.
It's a TV title match.
But for the TV title. But on pay-per-view, it'll be 30 minutes. And then they bring out Michael Buffer, the longtime boxing announcer. Let's get ready to rumble, Michael Buffer, which makes it feel like a big fight feel. It makes it feel unique, special. And WCW started doing this around this time and did it for all the big main events and everything. And I just really think it added to make it feel more like sport. So we get Arn Anderson versus Lord Steven Regal. Not William Regal, Steven Regal. And he's with Sir William, who is superstar Bill Dundee, if anybody knows who he is. In disguise, yes, in a British disguise. And this is the absolute Matt classic. I think there's a perfect technical match here. And the way they use Sir William's interference.
Yes.
They keep working the clock. You see Sir William on the outside pulling out his pocket watch, checking the time, trying to work the clock to their advantage, which I like that. I don't think they do it enough. I think we need it in modern wrestling. I think it would help a lot working that clock.
I can tell you, AEW does it a lot more than we pay attention to. If we watched I know we do Dynamite live streams every Wednesday, but if we paid attention to the program a little bit more, you'd see a lot of that. Just in a more modern way. We usually don't pay any attention to.
This ends up Sir William.
This is better than anything AEW's probably produced.
Sir William hits Arn in the throat with the umbrella, and it gives Regal an advantage. And I love how they used the time again. Like I just said, it was amazing. They go back to doing it again here, kind of trying to draw it out. And they tell an amazing story with it. It
really picks up. So the first, let's say, 25 minutes of the match, it's slow, feel each other out process, back and forth, a lot of work on the arm, technical classic. And then we get, for the last 4 or 5 minutes, series of near falls. They're literally, it seems like these two men are fighting for their lives. Arn hits a spine buster, but
which is amazing.
Sir William blatantly stops the pinfall, like right in front of the ref. Which I thought was interesting. They didn't send him, like nowadays the ref catches it, they immediately send him back. Did not happen. Arn goes for a roll up on Steven Regal and gets the assist with the umbrella once again by Sir William, and with 6 seconds left gets the pinfall, which I like how they brought it down to the wire.
Well, I also like, he rolls over Arn and grabs the umbrella from outside the ring and holds onto it. The ref doesn't see it.
No.
I just liked how they worked that whole thing. Great heel tactic there. It got over. Arn being one of the best heels ever definitely helped get that over.
I also want to say that the Regal praise makes so much more sense after watching this match. Like, all the praise that William Regal gets for being such a great technical wrestler is shown off in this matchup.
Definitely one of the best. Next, we get Michael Buffer again, which I thought was awesome. And he announces that we're having a tag team title match. Maxx, Payne, and Cactus Jack versus the Nasty Boys, the champions of the Nasty Boys. Heenan says, "The brain, that's what Donald calls me," referring to Donald Trump. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Okay.
Just thought it was kind of nuts way back here.
Brain had a lot of zingers.
A lot of zingers.
I think we could have did a whole episode on shit Bobby the Brain Heenan said during Superbrawl 4.
Yes.
Alone.
Yes. He was amazing. Maxx Payne starts out and delivers 2 amazing suplexes right off the rip. Cactus and Maxx was great together. I thought they were really hard hitting, explosive. Now,
things get rough here.
Yes, things do get rough. There is one of the craziest throws I've ever seen.
Well, I mean, before we get to the throw even, the mat's lifted up on the outside.
Oh, yeah, I forgot all about that.
And
spot.
Sags kind of, it's not really a pounce, but kind of like shoulders Cactus off the apron, onto the concrete floor.
Plunge onto the bare floor.
And you watch his head smack the floor. And then we get Knobs gets down, picks Cactus up, and slings his head into the back of the steel rail. So immediately after the first concussion, Cactus gets the second concussion, back to back. And then we get Knobs nearly dies.
Yeah, Maxx Payne suplexes Knobs. It's kind of like a belly to belly. And Knobs literally scorpions.
Yes.
Dislocating his shoulder. You can tell his shoulder is
It's
dislocated.
brutal.
And then right after this, Knobs is they bring in the guitar. Payne hits his
I don't remember what his finish is called. I'm not gonna lie. He hits his finish.
Yeah, he hits his finish. I think it's called the Painkiller. Is what I think it's called.
That's a fire name.
I think so. I'm not for sure. But because of a DQ, the Nasties are still champs.
Sags utilizes the guitar, smacks Payne right in the face with it, shatters the guitar, and the Nasties, like you said, retain the tag titles due to DQ. To me, obviously, I feel like they brought the guitar out. I feel like it was part of a spot that was necessary for the match. But how it ended, I felt like after, Knobs got that nasty landing on his neck and shoulder, and it felt like that was a little bit more targeted than it was supposed to be. It looked like a receipt.
Well, I think it was, and I think they wanted to get out of the match because of maybe Knobs' injury.
Yeah.
And we're told go home.
And he went home.
And he went home.
He said, fuck it,
we're home. As we know, Jerry Sags has some problems with even Scott Hall.
Yeah.
The same type of stuff. Next, we get Gene backstage with the champ, Ric Flair, and Steamboat. And then Double A comes in from his match.
Yep.
And they're talking about Flair's WCW title, which I thought this was interesting. It's not the big gold belt.
No.
It's the actual WCW title. They talk about Hulk Hogan coming to WCW. Gene says Hogan is watching. So they're hyping up this Hogan. Hogan coming into the company. Yes. They're really hyping it up.
I got a question.
Yes.
So Bobby alludes to in this next match that the sanctioned WCW World Heavyweight title is the title Rick Rude holds.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure there's one of one of Flair's WCW World title reigns does not count.
Yes.
Is it this one?
Because
there was 2 champions and
be.
The WCW World Heavyweight title that was sanctioned was Rick Rude's?
It might be.
Okay.
I'm not for sure.
I also just want to put over in this promo, while they're talking about Hogan, Flair blatantly puts out, hey, this is the big, if we was to lock up, would be the biggest match, not only in wrestling, but in professional sports.
Yeah, I think
and like really alludes to the fact that maybe the other place
dropped the ball.
dropped the ball.
And I think that he was doing that trying to lure Hogan in, see how big the interest in the wrestling world and in
getting the buzz sparked.
Not just wrestling world, but in mainstream.
Yes.
Because at this point, Nitro was on every Monday night, Raw's on every Monday night. Wrestling's a big deal again, starting to become a real big deal again.
Yeah, Nitro's just about to start. I think it starts in 95.
Yeah, no, it starts right after this.
Yeah, it starts right after this in 95. So it's...
They were setting up for that.
Yes, they was building it up.
And that's what Hogan come in for, was Nitro.
Okay.
He come in Saturday night, stuff like that, a couple months before the Nitro, maybe a year before the Nitro thing went on.
Yeah.
So next we get the OG Hell in a Cell match.
Thundercage.
6-man tag team match. We get the world champion Rick Rude versus Steve Austin, the U.S. champ, and Paul Orndorff.
Versus Flying Brian Pillman, Austin's former tag team partner, the Stinger, and a very young Dustin Rhodes.
A young Sting.
Sting
is nothing better than a young Sting. He was ready. Austin was great too here too.
He sells like a champ.
Sells like a champ and taking bumps off the cage.
There's one where he like hangs his leg up in it, which I thought was like, and they're putting over like, hey, he could tear a knee, he could tear anything, like getting all caught up in the cage like that. But Austin sells it like a champ.
And Brian and Austin being former Hollywood Blondes, they go at it. Brian's busted open by Austin with the cage.
Yep.
Rude's top rope flying knee drop that he does.
Beautiful.
I love that. I just thought that was amazing. Sting uses the cage to bust Orndorff open, which I thought was great. Orndorff getting some color. Great spot. Dustin goes for the Bulldog. Rude crotches him on the top rope. I just thought that was an amazing spot. Flying Brian pins Austin. Sting
gorilla presses him into like a crossbody on Austin.
Yes.
Which I thought was cool. It was like an interesting, crafty way to end this matchup.
But at the end of the match, Rick Rude slams the cage door in Stinger's face and hits him with the Rude Awakening. I loved it.
And then it's immediately like separate, get them apart. I think it definitely heightened the angle between Sting and Rick Rude.
And this was it's sad because this is right before Rude is back injury. Yes,
in Japan.
In New Japan, and Rude hurts his back, and it just shows you where this could have went. What Rude, every time he had gotten this spot, or close to this spot, something important.
Tragic.
Yes, and I just, man. Next we get the second Thundercage of the night.
Big Van Vader with Harley Race.
Yes.
Taking on the Nature Boy, the current WCW Heavyweight Champion, Ric Flair. And then special guest referee, formerly known as the Big Boss Man, the Boss.
I think they might have got their first cease and desist letter here.
You think so?
Well, I just know right after this, he was the Guardian Angel, and then after that, he was something else, and after that, he was something else, and after that,
he definitely went through more gimmick changes
in
WCW than anything.
And I think it was because he come out as the boss, dressed like the boss man, and immediately ceased and desist.
Well, and the guy's from Cobb County, Georgia. It's all the Big Boss Man nuances are there, and it's definitely just Big Boss Man light, maybe. What threw me off about this is you expect all the animosity that Vader has. He would be the aggressor early on. Flair takes it right to Vader.
Well, that's what I was going to say also. Flair starts out the match kicking Vader's ass.
Yeah, he I
think
Vader.
That's because all their matches, Flair always got beat down most of the matches.
Okay.
And so this was his.
I thought it was crazy that like the last Thundercage match, that it was always like, hey, I need you guys to get in the ring. I need you guys to fight in here. This one, it was kind of different because obviously you have the boss man as the referee. So like Flair's hitting with chairs. He's like utilizing the cage. Vader shuts down Flair pretty quick. Something I thought was really crazy is Vader goes for a moonsault pretty early on.
Yep.
Flair rolls out of the way, and Vader pretty much lands on his feet. And that's a 300-plus pound man flipping off the top rope, landing on his feet, which is actually crazy. Once again, great heel work. Vader arguing with the boss. Harley Race choking out Flair with the cage, which I thought was...
using Harley through the cage was amazing. I love to use that. And then the boss catches Harley doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to try to handcuff Race, but instead Vader cuts him off. And handcuffs him to the cage.
Yep.
And takes his nightstick. Race enters the cage, and they go to work on Ric Flair. Arn and Steamboat come to help, but can't get in the cage.
I thought this part was really funny because the whole time Steamboat and Arn are trying to get in the cage, Flair starts whooping Vader and Harley's ass.
Yes.
He just starts whooping. So in theory, what do you guys even need to come in here for? Because Flair's just whooping them until eventually the boss breaks free.
Well, no, eventually Vader accidentally hits Race.
Yes.
Yes, he unintentionally hits Race, and then the boss breaks free. Flair, this is kind of crazy because Flair ends up locking the figure four onto Vader, and boss calls for the bell out of nowhere. And Vader never really quit. Nobody ever said they couldn't hear him quit. Nobody heard him quit. And so it was kind of left as a toss-up. I like this. I thought it could have been less...
It was a lot more smoke and mirrors than anything.
Yes.
It's crazy. In one pay-per-view, we get the original Hell in a Cell and the original Screwjob. All in the same thing. Like, I can definitely see...
And probably the first cease and desist.
And the all-in-one, man.
All-in-one.
It was, overall, I thought it was a pretty decent pay-per-view. It started off incredibly so. I think the first hour and a half, but I definitely called you and was like, Dad, what do you got me watching? But like I said,
it turned out to be okay, though.
After the Johnny B. Bad match, things picked up. I guess main event-wise, I think if you would have switched the matches,
yes,
it would have been a lot better. If the six-man would have been the main event and the Flair and Vader would have been before that, I think it would have been a lot better. I understand they put the world title in the final slot, but I think
Flair must
pacing-wise would have been a lot better. The only other thing I might say is I know that your favorite match was the 30-minute TV title match. I think if it was 15 minutes, it would have been a lot better.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think it's drugged.
I can see that.
Like, you would have had 10 minutes of
back
and forward.
That's what Turner and WCW focused on. It's where the big boys play. This was supposed to be real action, real sports, real wrestling, and I think that's what Arn and Lord Steven Regal, William Regal, we're going for.
I like it. Guys, I want to say thank you guys for joining us.